Okay, so we're gonna participate. The way we participate in here is the way we participate out there. So let's dive in, share the screen. All right, and here we go. All right, so like I stated before, we are going to talk about make and receive offers today, which is session 17. Up until this point, you all have went through the whole process of real estate, a transaction. So we're in the transaction phase. You talked about when the buyer, when the seller, working with the buyer and seller, and now again today, make and receive the offer and negotiate the offer. We all know our Y4C2Ts. I'll go through them real quick. They want me to make sure I highlight this. So win-win or no deal, integrity, do the right thing, customers always come first, commitment in all things, communication, seek first to understand, creativity, ideas before results, teamwork, together everyone achieves more, trust starts with honesty, equity, opportunities for all, success results through people. There's a reason why they made sure they put the Y4C2Ts in this section because when we're talking about making and receiving offers and negotiating contracts, we want to make sure that it's a win win situation and that we're working from integrity. And again, our customers always come first. So, there was the main point that they highlighted this before we went into this section. Today's agenda for this part. So we're going to talk about the offer process. Then we're going to prepare the offer. We're going to write the offer, present the offer, receive and respond, and then we'll do a recap. We'll take a break, and then we're going to go into the negotiation part. Let me stop sharing my screen real quick. Um, by your digital hand, or you can raise your hand. Anybody that has been in the business for 1 to 5 years. Okay. Okay, got a few. All right. 5 years or more. Gotcha. Okay. So we got a mixed room. Okay, perfect. I just wanted to see what we had in the room as we get ready to go over everything. All right, let's go back to the screen. All right. So this quote from Bo Bennett, Arthur, and PhD says, I like to think of sales as the ability to gracefully persuade, not manipulate a person or persons into a win win situation. Right? Somebody share with me how they feel about this or what they think when they see this and hear this quote. I like to think of sales as the ability to gracefully persuade, not manipulate a person or persons into a win win situation. What do you think when you read that or hear that?
Man, I like that. I think sales, if we're properly qualifying our clients and we're hearing what their needs are, sometimes decisions are just hard, and especially when there's this much at stake. And they need sometimes just a gentle reaffirmation that maybe this house is a great fit for them, and here's why, or why they shouldn't get so emotional, to keep it rational, to keep, all of these things that we do. That's our job. It is a gentle persuasion because it's not our job to sell it if they're not going to be happy with it.
Yep, Denise, exactly. I love that. Where there's going to be times where we have to give that gentle push because our jobs as real estate professionals is pretty much like as a coach. My job for the people I'm coaching is to see things from a helicopter view. When there's people that's new to the process, or they haven't sold a home or bought a home in so long, they only see things in a certain way. So it's our job as the real estate professional to have that helicopter view to look at the whole bigger picture and then to help them self-realize and again give them that little push that hey, this home is the home that matches the criteria that you laid out to me in our buyers consultation. Or hey, Mr. and Mr. Seller, according to the comps, I know you said this, but yet the market is telling us because again, I don't control the pricing, the market controls the pricing. This is what it's saying. So my professional opinion is we need to do this. So again, with that quote, just like you said, Denise, it is us not manipulating, but giving them that little gentle push along with the information so they can know, this is the right step to take. All right, so we're going to get started with the offer process. The offer process. So here's what happens. The buyer makes an offer and then the seller can respond in one of three ways. We got to remember too that our clients are going to be emotional when it comes to this. The seller is going to be emotional if the price isn't where they think it should be. The buyer is going to be emotional because again, this is a big process. This is a big purchase. They don't know what to expect. So it's our job as the real estate professional to make sure we stay level headed, we stay calm, and we can help with the process. A buyer makes an offer. There's one of three things. Counter the offer. That's when the negotiation starts come. So if the seller counters the offer, now the ball is back into the buyer's court, and then it's their job to respond to that counter offer. Second way is the seller accepts the offer. Now we begin the contract to close process. If you are in the attorney state, you're giving the executed contract to the attorney, you're giving it to the lender so they can start the file and get the process rolling. The third option, me personally, as a listing agent, I always tell my client, unless it's just a ridiculously crazy offer that's just tremendously low, I'm telling them that we are never rejecting the offer. We're going to always counter. My thinking is, and the way I feel is, hey, if they submitted an offer, they have to be somewhat serious. Now let's do the negotiation process. Let's counter instead of rejecting the offer so we can start the process of going back and forth to see what works. Um, they tell us when emotions run hot for others, it is our job to remain professional and put it and keep it together. It's not our purchase or sale. We don't get to be emotional. We serve them by being calm, reassuring, in control, and most importantly, by communicating everything to our clients in a timely manner. So again, like I stated earlier, it is our position for us to be calm, stay rational, don't get emotionally attached. That way we can be the one of the clearer mind and the clearer voice to be able to walk them through the process. Okay. Explain to your clients the importance of responding timely. I've been in situations where I've had sellers wanted to prolong the response to an offer, and by the time we went back to respond to the offer, the buyers had already moved on to another property. So again, we want to make sure we explaining that importance to our client about responding timely. Okay. Any questions or anything about this slide or anything that you've experienced of going through the process of getting an offer and how you're maneuvering through it with your clients? So no one's had a situation where they had to go through the process of presenting the offer to their clients? Not yet. Oh, that's
I have.
exciting. Yes. I love this. Okay, so
This
2000.
is Brenda.
Hey, Brenda.
I so I have, and the one thing that I would recommend on the counter offer is to always remember, at least in our contracts, we tend to forget to you like initial everywhere, but you tend to forget to sign it. And that's just because it's usually farther down in the contract and you don't remember that one little spot and then you got to go back and do it. So always remember to initial and then also have the client sign for the counter offers.
Perfect, Brenda. I love that you just actually segue us into the next section where we're going through to prepare the offer. And I am excited for all you all where, you haven't went through that yet. So 2025 is going to be a big year for you all because you're already getting prepped up, you're getting ready. You're doing the work that the other people aren't doing right now. You're putting yourself in a position by being here on a Tuesday night when you could be doing anything else. You're setting yourself up for success. So I am definitely proud of you all for being here. All right. So now we're going to talk about preparing the offer. So, like Brenda was just talking about, we're going to go through the process of the things that we need to do to make sure we have our offer together where we're not having to go back and redo anything. Prepare to write an offer. So, first thing, ensure the property is still available. This may sound very like, common sense, yet, and at one point in our market, the way things was going, properties were going under contract while we were standing in the house for showings. So again, we want to make sure that the property is still available, and then also sometimes the property probably can go expired or canceled. You never know, so we want to make sure that we are still aware of the availability of the property. Second, build rapport with the listing agent. This is something that is very, very key, and a lot of agents miss out on. There's a lot of listing agents that has a lot of, I don't want to say control, but they have a lot of influence on their clients accepting the offer or not. So one thing is reaching out to the listing agent and just asking a few questions about the property, and that's where it comes down to number three and four and five. Inquiring about activity. Hey, Joe agent, how many showings have you guys have? Have you received any offers? Like number four says, inquire about other offers on the property, status, and if they fell through. That is a question too that a lot of people don't ask. Is when you reaching out to the listing agent and say, "Hey, have you guys had any offers on the property?" If they say yes, say, "Would you mind sharing me why your client rejected those offers?" That way you can get an idea of what it is that they're looking for. Ask questions about seller motivations and needs. The biggest question you can ask is what's most important to your client. So whenever I'm coaching somebody, I used to do this all the time. When I reached out to the listing agent, I said, what is most important to your client? What is most important to the seller? Because here's the thing, it's not always the purchase price. It can be closing date. It can be that they may need a lease back. It could be other contingencies. So there's some times where the thing that's most important to them is not always the price. So we want to make sure we can get that information from the listing agent. Ask the listing agent how they want to receive the offer. Nowadays we're doing it, digital, we're sending it over. So more than likely they'll say that. Um, the buyer's pre-approval letter, we should already have that before we're even showing properties. Okay. Next, we have review MLS and tax records. So we want to make sure we have the PIN number, seeing what the property taxes is. So again, we're just reaffirming that with our clients so they know what's going on. Produce a comparative market analysis. So we're doing a CMA to make sure that we're presenting a strong yet fair offer, that we are not going too far over what the market is telling us. And then obtain a seller disclosure statement and other needed documents. I know for us in our MLS, I think it's like this for a lot of MLSs, that it has the disclosures in there that the listing agent can put in there, and you're able to download it and have your clients sign it. All right, so let's go back real quick. Anything that sticks out to you all about this, or anything that you think you will ask the listing agent?
I might ask them about sellers' motivation and needs. That's a really good point.
Yeah, yep. Because again, I've been through the situation so much where it's not the purchase price that got the offer won. One of the big ones is closing date. If your client, your buyer is flexible where they can do a quicker closing, or they can do extended a little bit longer, that can be the factor there to get your client's offer accepted. Because you have some sellers that they're waiting to close their property, so they need a little bit more time. So again, always reaching out, asking what's most important to your seller, what would make them accept the offer, and then they'll let you know. And you're gonna have some listing agents that get diarrhea at the mouth. They're just gonna tell you every single thing that you need to know to submit a good offer. So again, it never hurts to ask that question to make sure that you are getting, what you need to be able to submit the best offer. I like that idea. Often, if offers have been rejected, now is the time. Yep. Because here's the thing. One of another big reason why you asked about if there was other offers rejected, because you may find out that the seller really isn't motivated to sell, that they're just rejecting offers because they don't have to sell. Their motivation isn't there. They're just trying to see if they can get a higher price. And if they don't get the higher price that they want, they're not going to sell. With me knowing that ahead of time, I'm saving my client, that feel of defeat when that offer get rejected, when I know, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I reached out to the listing agent. The seller really isn't that motivated. They rejected 4 offers that came in, and those offers were pretty good. Do you still want to go through the process of writing up the offer and submit it, with us knowing that the seller really isn't that motivated? Read the comments for a second. Yep, some agents will talk. Yep. So again, those are, if there's anything that I will say highlight when you reach out to a listing agent, is asking what's most important to your client, and then again, if you guys have any offers, and could you share the reasons why your client rejected those offers. That way you can get an idea of how you need to maneuver with your client. All right, we just talked about that. Next part, we're going to talk about write the offer. Here are the key elements of writing a strong offer. Price and terms. So what is the purchase price? What are some of the terms? Seller's disclosure. So again, when you get the seller disclosure, make sure you're going through that with your client, seeing if there are any, things that may be a concern, to be able to, to walk through that with your client. Conveyance. This is another big thing that um we gotta, keep an eye on as the listing agent. So in our MLS, and I just realized this from being in South Carolina teaching, in their MLS, they don't put things that are conveying with the property or in the listing, the agreements. So making sure we're aware of the things that are conveying with the property. Earnest money, how much earnest money your client will be putting down and the time frame they'll be doing it, due diligence and inspection period, time for seller acceptance. Um, I am not too fond of that because, especially depending on the market, if we're in a hot seller's market, I don't think it's a smart idea to tell the sellers they have a certain time to answer your offer when they're probably receiving multiple offers. Now, in a more slower market, yes, we can do that, so that way we can create that sense of urgency for them. Financing terms, if it's FHA, VA, conventional, if it's cash, the buyer's pre-approval letter to be submitted with the offer, what a closing date. If your client wants a home warranty, you can put that into the offer. Repair limits, we don't really do that too much, so I can't speak a lot on that. If there's any special clauses and then any addendums that will go along with the property. Talk through the offer. All right. So here's what they want us to say. So we're gonna walk through the entire contract and then you're gonna walk through it as if you're the client. So you're gonna make sure that you're setting the proper expectations. So you get out the contract and give your client the best chance to get their offer accepted. Okay. So review the contract. Be sure your buyer understands the contract, especially now with everything that has been going on since, well, before August 17th, all this stuff that's going on. We have to make sure we thoroughly explain and our clients understand the contract. Do not be do not be afraid to ask your clients, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, do you completely understand everything we just went through? If not, I can go over it again. We have to make sure that we leave no stones unturned because, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on with our industry right now. So we want to make sure our clients truly understand the contract that we're putting together. You're going to review details like price, closing date, inspection period, contingencies, conveyance, etc. Know what is essential in your area. Know standard or common terms for offers in your area. Avoid rookie agent mistakes. Okay. I would say rookie agent mistakes. I don't, as long as you have somebody that, if this is your first time writing an offer, if you can have your coach, your managing broker, your team leader, another seasoned agent, accountability partner, somebody that you could just have glance over the contract before you submit it, that would be something that'll help avoid any rookie mistakes on submitting when you're submitting the offer and putting it together. Okay. Right. Anything from that section or anything that you would like for me to re-go over? Again, I would highlight of just with all the changes just happening, everything that's going on with our industry is making sure our clients truly understanding what they're signing. That way you won't have any issues come up, something happen, they can't say that you didn't explain to them what was going on. So now we're gonna go into
Sorry,
presenting. Yes, go ahead.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
So I think you mentioned, I don't know for sure you did it, but we have to put in a approval offer or like a approval letter from the lender with the offer. Do you make it like price specific or do you make it property specific? And if
I
it's price specific, do you cross out the price until after negotiations or write it later?
So I usually do property specific. So whenever because I always run the property by the lender first. So I'll give the lender the property address so they can make sure on their end that all the numbers line up for what the client can do on a monthly basis and things like that with taxes. If there's a HOA to make sure everything is in line with what they're doing, and then the lender will always present a pre-approval letter for the actual offer price that you want to offer.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, because I get what you're saying, because it can be situations where if your client is pre-approved for 600,000 and the property and you're submitting an offer for 550, a little bit lower than the list price. If the agent sees and the seller sees that you're pre-approved for that price, yeah, they're gonna always push back. They're gonna always send a counter offer because they're gonna say, "Oh, well, you're pre-approved for this. You can afford it. Why are you submitting a lower offer?" So the lender usually always asks, "What price are you looking to submit the offer at?" We'll tell him the price, and then the lender will put together the pre-approval letter with that price that we want to offer.
Okay, that answered my questions. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any questions around that or anything else that we went through on that screen? All right. All right. So now we're going to go talk about present the offer. So when we're presenting the offer, we want to make sure that we double check all documents. Brenda, I think you said it earlier of making sure everything is thoroughly checked and good to go, because you would hate to submit an offer and you guys miss something. Now you have to get it redone and send it back. And depending on the type of market it is in your specific area, if you're on a time crunch where you're worried about another offer maybe coming in or things like that, you want to make sure you have everything good to go and ready. Follow instructions. So again, that's one of the situations where when you reached out to the listing agent and you asked the listing agent, how do you would like to receive the offer, things like that. We got how they like to receive it. We got the instructions, and then that's what we'll follow with presenting the offer. Label all documents clearly. Here's one thing I would say too is putting all the documents in one PDF. So not having the purchase contract, then you have another one of the pre-approval letter, then you have the disclosures, like putting it all in one PDF, labeling it as offer for 123 Main Street, and just having it, all right there ready so they can see it all in one place. Order documents logically. For me, and this is just me because I got in the habit of doing it. I'll do the pre-approval letter first. I'll do the purchase contract. Then I'll do the property disclosure, and then I'll do the other disclosures, and then that's how I'll usually have it lined up. Email summary. So when you put it in the email, quick summary. Hey, this is Jesse Coleman from Keller Williams Realty. I'm presenting below a offer for your property. Quick summary of the offer: purchase price 600,000, earnest money 10,000, close date November 23rd, earnest money. Like, I just give a quick summary of it. That way they can have a quick overview of it before they open it. Number six. Number six is pretty funny because there was a big debate in one of the realtors Facebook groups with that has over like 100,000 agents in it of, do you call the agent before you submit the offer? Do you just send them a text message, or do you just send the offer without reaching out to them? There was legit a huge debate about that. For me, I would say reach out to the agent because, again, we want to build rapport. Hey, Mr. Agent, this is Jesse Coleman with Keller Williams Realty. I had showed your property on 123 Main Street yesterday at 5 p.m. We're about to submit an offer. And then that's when I'll go back over it again. Hey, so again, what's most important to your client about an offer they receive? Did your client receive any other offers since the last time we spoke? Like, I'm just getting a little bit more clarity around it before I send the offer. And then we're making sure all documents are in DocuSign and Command, again, so we can follow compliance. And then consult with your buyer. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I have everything lined up, ready to go. Do you still want me to submit the offer? Yes, Jesse, we do. Perfect. I'll send over the offer and then go from there. Okay. Anything about that slide that we just talked about? One thing I always like to add too is that after I submit the offer, I'm letting my client know with an update. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, just so you know, I just submitted the offer to the listing agent. As soon as I get a response back, I'll let you know. Perfect, Ashley. Great. So again, a lot of things that happen in our industry, especially when we're going to do deals, is the lack of communication. So the more you can never over communicate. So the more we communicate with the listing agent, again, we're building that rapport. There are some agents, there are some lenders that if their name are on the offer contract, people will tell their clients, hey, this person doesn't have a good reputation. We have to be very wary on this offer they're getting. Then there's some agents that if their name is on the offer contract, the listing agent like, oh my God, this agent is the best. They communicate, they're very thorough. This is an offer that we need to really consider. So again, by you having that line of communication, you reached out to the listing agent, you're asking them what's most important to their client, you're asking how they'll like to be communicated, you're asking what is the best way to submit an offer to them. You're setting yourself up to not only be successful, but you're setting your clients up to be able to get their offer accepted. How do you feel about using seller's preferred title? So for us, our attorney here, we're an attorney state. So our attorney actually picks the title companies. Now, if a seller knows a title person or a family member or something at a title company, they can recommend that we use that one. But for us, the attorney usually is the one that picks the title companies because they already have their relationship with them, which I like that because again, we want to make sure that we bulletproof the transaction. Gary Keller always talks about that bulletproof in the transaction. So if you have a relationship with a title company and you know their process, you know how they work, you have somebody that you can call to get things processed quicker, then I would go with that. So for us in the attorney state, our attorneys pretty much handle everything from contract to close. Soon as we get an executed contract, we send it over to the attorney. The attorney opens up the file with the title company. They start ordering title. They start doing that whole process. Also, once we get the inspection report back, you go over the inspection report with your client. Your clients say things that they either want fixed or things they want a credit for. We feed that information to the attorney, and the attorney puts together the attorney review letter and sends it over to the other side. So pretty much the attorneys talk to each other to go through the process, and then us as agents, we stay in communication if we need to push things on. I'm in Illinois. So upper part of Illinois, Chicago, Cook County, we use attorneys. Downstate Illinois, closer to St. Louis, East St. Louis, those places down there, they don't use attorneys, which I just found that out earlier this year, and I was amazed by it. All right, let's keep moving
A quick
forward.
question,
Yes.
Jesse. You mentioned the agent being a good agent, if being a good agent sending over an offer, and maybe the listing agent is like, oh, okay, they always have good whatever. Now that's not, you were saying for your client, or you're receiving information from an agent, however it goes. You were saying for your client, that this would be a good offer that may stand and move forward and go through with closing. This isn't a conversation as the offers come in. This is what we're thinking. We're not saying to our clients, this agent just shot over a pretty good offer and we can,
No, this
we
is
can trust that this is just us. We're not saying, that's not a conversation we're having with our client. Now, you see what I'm saying? I
no. I
can't
get what
say
you're saying.
that to
No,
my
this
client, that
no
this
this
is a,
this is
right.
a conversation you have with yourself, and
Okay.
you're
Okay.
keeping that in the back of your mind. I personally know if I get an offer with certain agents or certain lenders on there, I know it's going to be a problem because of histories with certain lenders and certain agents.
I guess I'm thinking about how would that be conveyed to your client, if that is my thought?
Yeah. So
How
here's
would you?
So here's the conversation. So hey Erica, we just received the offer in. The offer is blah 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 blah. Now, Erica, I'm gonna let you know from my experience that I've had transactions with this agent before, and this agent can be a little difficult. So with me knowing that, I just want to bring it to your attention that if we decide to accept this offer, there may be some times of frustration because this agent is a little difficult to work with.
Okay, I got you. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, again, we have that inner dialogue.
Boy, I like the way you switched that gear up right there. That.
Listen, it is all yep, Peoria does not use attorneys. Yep. It's all about communication. We again there's no emotion for us. We have to keep our emotion in check. So even if we have some emotion, when we articulate it, it has to come out as if there's no emotion. I know this agent is going to be a pain in the you know what, yet I'm not going to put that on my client. Hey, Mr. and Mr. Seller, I've worked with this agent before in the past. There may be some times where they may be a little difficult to work with. So I just wanted to give you that heads up before we even go forward with the process, just so you can know the lines of communication with this agent is not the best, yet I just wanted to let you know that. So again, it's just about giving them, again, we're setting expectations. We want to let our clients know, because here's the thing, anything that can go wrong will go wrong, and the person that will be at fault will be us. It doesn't matter the situation. So we get ahead of that. We set the expectations with our clients up front, because we know the agent, or we know the lender. We've dealt with them. We know the history. That I'm just going to let you know what has happened in the past.
Yeah, being proactive. Best to be proactive and reactive.
Yep. Gary Keller preaches bulletproof the transaction.
Right. Just didn't know what we could disclose to, how much we could actually disclose to the client
No,
in regards to somebody else.
no, you don't have to get in detail. Again, it's just, hey, I've had experience with this agent. It was a little rocky.
And it depends on who the client is too. Because my first client was my wife, so I'm gonna tell her everything.
So yeah, it just pretty much flows like that. Again, we're not saying anything. We're not going deep into detail. We're not doing that. We're just letting them know, hey, this is my experience. The same thing again, the same thing with a lender. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, in the past, I've had 4 offers come in from this lender. We accepted their offer and they were never able to close a transaction. I just want to let you know that up front to set that expectation that if you do decide to move forward with that, there is a 50-50 chance that we may not get this closed.
I would
Again,
agree with that to say, I think it's our fiduciary duty to disclose that. That's why they count on us to have that information
Exactly.
and share it with them.
Exactly.
So that they can make an educated decision, especially if they got multiple offers that are similar.
Yep,
We ought to be fair in that.
yep, exactly. Again, at the end of the day, as long as we're not acting out of malice, we're not doing anything, we're just providing information from the experience that we had. We're not talking bad, we're not talking down, we're just sharing what that experience was of working with this agent or this lender to give them all the information they need. Again, we're providing them with all the data so they can come to a conclusion. Right. All right, so we went through that. We already talked about our highs. Receive and respond offers. All right, receive and review the offer checklist. First, make sure offer is complete. Confirm receipt of the offer. So when you submit the offer, you can always put in the email, hey Jesse, here's the offer for blah blah blah. Can you please confirm receipt of the offer? Can you shoot me a text or just respond to the email saying offer received? Get offer to seller in a timely manner. So for us on the listing side, we get an offer in, we present the offer in a timely manner. Here's another form of communication that I always preach. Ask your seller, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, how quickly do you want me to present the offer to you? Here's the reason why I say that. If an offer comes in on Sunday at 1 p.m., we don't know if our client is a place of worship. We don't know what they're doing. Do you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if an offer comes in after a certain time on Friday, is it okay for me to put in the MLS that any offer received after 7 p.m. on Friday will be handled by 10 a.m. on Monday? You again, that communication you're having with your client and you're getting your client involved in the decision making. They like to be involved in that. It's not like you're making the decision for them. You're asking them, hey, again, if we receive an offer after this time, when would you want me to present it to you if it's outside of business hours? Okay. Create executive summary. So again, just a summary of everything that's going on so you can make sure you're reviewing it and stay on top of it. Call buyer's agent. Call buyer's agent if there's a question that you have that you need to verify on the offer. Okay. 6, if it's allowed in your area, we are allowed to do this. I am always calling the lender. I am always calling the lender. Hey, blah, blah, blah. This is Jessica McCullough Williams Realty. I just received the offer on my property on 123 Main Street. Listing agent, the buyer's agent is Jane Doe. The buyer is John Doe. How thorough is the buyer? Did you receive all of the documentation to make sure you were able to check everything? How strong is the buyer? Me on the buyer side, I'm having my lender call the listing agent before the listing agent calls them. Hey, John Lender, we submitted an offer on 123 Main Street. Here's the listing agent's number. Can you give them a call just to let them know that everything is solid with our buyer? 7, create an outline document to reference when you call the seller. So pretty much however you're presenting the offer to your seller, have an outline of how you want to present that to your seller. Okay. So again, big thing for me is on the buy side, I am having my lender call the listing agent before the listing agent calls him. If I'm the listing agent and I haven't heard from the lender, I'm reaching out to the lender. Hey, I just received the offer for such and such client. Can you just give me any updates or how strong the client is? Now, with saying all that, I'll say this. There will be times that the lenders will still not tell the truth. Yet, we want to make sure we did our part of reaching out. So that way, if something goes wrong, we're having that conversation with our seller. Hey, I reached out to the lender. The lender told me this, everything was good to go. I did what I was supposed to do. You never want to be in a situation where if something goes wrong and the your client say, "Well, did you talk to the lender and ask them about it?" And you say, "Oh, I didn't." Again, they'll always put it on us. If it is a cash offer, we're making sure we get the proof of funds. You can all, and I hate to say this, yet every once in a while, you may get uh, a bank statement that doesn't look look too real. It doesn't look right. I've had situations where I did call the bank and just say, "Do you have somebody banking with you with this name?" And not get any other information just to make sure that they at least have an account where they say they have an account at. There's been too many situations where people have been taken advantage of or things have went wrong because they didn't at least verify what's going on. Okay?
So, Jesse, can you hear me?
Yes.
So, for a cash offer, if you feel that the funds are not there, probably, and you verify that, yes, they have an account, but they probably, I don't know, whatever you're seeing on paper, it doesn't look real. What are your options? What do? You just take their word and move on? Like, what do you do?
I know for us, we'll probably get the title company involved because the title company can they can do more of a verification because they are the ones that's putting together the close and they're putting together all the documents. So I'll either get them involved or the attorney. Because again, for us, and I'm speaking for us because we do use attorneys, that they're gonna have an attorney that they're working with. So I'll get them involved just to make sure that they are what they're supposed. They say who they are, and everything is gonna go right.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
And Jesse, I got a question too. So, given that I was telling you that I partner with a lender also, since we're speaking about lenders, what do you suggest that I say? Like, what is the do's and don'ts being an agent to answer the questions for the client regarding the lender?
And what type of questions? Give me a quick example before I respond.
So like, what would be a do and don't of asking the client, or if that client asks me being an agent, similar to like a percentage or APRs or something like that, or what do you think my percentage will be, or what do you think what down payment will be, stuff like that. Like, so you suggest I tell them, but like, how do you think I should word it, or what can I answer, or should I answer nothing that has nothing to do with any lending questions?
So I am a high D and I am very like so my response is always, "Hey, I am your agent. I stay in the lane of an agent. The lender can answer all questions to do based around lending, because what I don't want to do is give you the wrong information and then I'm not handling my fiduciary responsibilities for you. So that is a question that you should ask the lender.
Right. So basically, don't answer nothing. That's what I
Yeah.
was getting at. Ain't really like
Yeah. I am very good at delegating to the person it needs to be delegated to.
right.
So
Okay, I
I
got you.
have no problem with saying, nope, that is a question that the lender will answer. If you want, I can reach out to the lender, have them call you to explain it to you, or
Okay.
you can reach out to them, because again, that's the lender's lane.
Right, because I got that same impression. So far, I've been doing that. So I just wanted to know, like, since we talking about it and it was brought up, like, what could I answer, even though I played it safe and didn't answer nothing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
with the questions that was asked, I just played it the safe way.
Yeah, we always have to be very, very careful of what we say, because people will always say, well, you told me this,
Right.
but you said we want to make sure we don't put ourselves in this situation. Nope, that is a question for the lender.
Okay, cool. Appreciate it.
No problem. What do you do if a buyer agent says the buyer will not provide proof of funds until the seller says they will accept the offer? We are not accepting or entertaining any offers without proof of funds. That is exactly what I'll say to the buyer's agent. As a buyer's agent, I know that there is going to be a 0.001% chance that my offer is even entertained without proof of funds or a pre-approval letter. As a buyer's agent, I don't want to waste my time submitting an offer without putting everything on there. So again, if they say, "Oh well, my buyer does not want to present proof of funds until they know their offer is accepted," I'll give the verbal offer to my client, and they're gonna tell me, "No, where's the proof of funds?" I have clients that do that. Hey, I didn't see the proof of fund with the offer. They're gonna be on top of that. So we just tell them like, "Hey, my client is not entertaining any offers unless we have proof of funds or pre-approval letter." Because honestly, it's just waste time for us. So again, we got to do what's best interest of our client. So yeah, we always need that. All right. You're welcome. So in Command, we all know that you can create offers in Command. You have your contact in there, you create an opportunity for your contact, then you can go to DocuSign, put the offer together, and then have everything there. So quick review. So a buyer offer comes in, our seller responds one of three ways. They either counter the offer, accept the offer, or reject the offer. Again, I always tell my clients we shouldn't flat out reject the offer unless it's completely like $100,000 lower. There's always room for negotiation. So again, counter offer negotiation, accept the offer, begins to track the close process, rejects the offer, buyer agent contacts listing agents to learn more. Don't assume no means no. We're not going to go through that. So we did quick recap, and what we will do is, quick quote: "I engage every conversation in a spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in relationships with me." Perfect. All right, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a quick break. I would love for you all to give me a review of the section we just went over, make and receive offers. I am in the process of becoming master faculty for KW, so I would love a review for the section we just went over, and then we'll take a quick break while I get the next slides up for the next section, and then we'll go into negotiating the offer. For region, you can put your you just put your region on there. Event is virtual. I am in the drop down, Jesse Coleman, and the course is Ignite, Make and Receive Offers. And then let me get all the slides ready.
What?
Alright. Grab some water, stretch it out. We got one more section to go today. I would have some music on, but I forgot to cue it up. So I apologize about that. Oh, that is okay. So it was so I will have that conversation with my seller and then so I would sell that to my seller like, hey, they are adamant or not about providing proof of funds until offer is accepted. How do you want to proceed? And then, just let your clients determine, how they want to proceed with that.
Okay, I'm gonna ask, so couldn't you just put in offer accepted contingent on proof of funds?
Yeah, you could do that. You can also, I know for us, we could continue showing. So we could say, hey, that's fine, and we're gonna continue to show the property. If another offer does come in with proof of funds and everything, then we will entertain that offer. Yep. All right, we'll get started in one more minute. All right, let's get going.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
How often is it that someone would not want to show proof of funds? Like, is that rare, or it just seems kind of?
It you won't get
Right.
that. Yeah, you won't get that a lot.
Oh, okay.
What I'm thinking is, and I don't really know the full situation, is that they're probably offering a lot lower than the ask price,
Mm,
and they want to wait till you get a accepted offer to show that they had a good service.
X amount of dollars.
Yeah, it's
But it
some,
could still be rejected though after that, couldn't it? Or
huh?
no? Couldn't it still be rejected though after that? Like if they're offering a way lesser amount?
Well, I know we have a 5-day period, so you can accept the offer. Then you have 5 days to be like, yeah, we're backing out. So yeah, it can still be, you know,
Right.
it can be changed around. Like, no, we're not moving forward with you all.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. All right, here we go. So now we're going to talk about negotiate the offer. We already went through that. So we're going to talk about what is negotiation, 3 P's of negotiation, negotiation tips, recap ahas, and then of course our daily success systems. Negotiation is not something to be avoided or feared. It's an everyday part of life. Lee Sternberg, sports agent and author. So I just have to say this because I see a lot of it with agents I coach, and then when I'm teaching classes, agents always bring it up. Do not be afraid of negotiations. Again, there is no emotion for us. We are not emotionally attached to this. Our number one objection is making sure we get a win-win situation for our clients. Also, I've seen this and I'm guilty of this before. Negotiation is not a time for us to have a big ego. Our ego is not more important than our client. Example is if an offer comes in lower and you know that you can get it higher, but your client is adamant of just accepting the offer, get your ego out of the way and okay, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you want to accept this offer and just again, it's what they want. It's not what we want. It is not a fight to the death while we negotiate and to see whichever agent get their client what they want. It's not gladiator. So we just got to remember it's best situation for our clients, whatever they want to do, and then again, we have no emotional attachments to it. So I just had to share that because I am guilty of that in the past, and I see it a lot that it's not a time for ego. It's about, hey, this is just a part of the process. And for all of my parents on here, you negotiate with your kids all the time. Hey, stop running. I'll give you a piece of candy. Like we do it. Hey, just give me a minute to myself and I'll let you play. We've done it. So everything is negotiable. For my husband's on there. Hey, let me go do a round of golf and then I promise we can go to Michael's or something and get something good. We've all negotiated, okay? So it's just a part of everyday life. So negotiation is an important part of the real estate agent job. It is very important. That's why I said we cannot avoid it. this is what we do. Again, our Y4C2Ts, this is another key point that we have to keep in when we're talking about negotiating, because we want to make sure that we're staying in integrity, we're putting our customers first. Communication is very key. Teamwork, everything can run a lot smoother if we all on the same page. All right. So there's two options after an offer is presented. Option one, offer is accepted, it go to close. Option two is now we either get a rejected or a counter offer. Now we're going through the process of negotiations. Depending on how far you all are apart during negotiations, you can, it may take a few back and forth before you're able to come to an agreement. But at the end of the negotiations, again, you're either going to get your offer accepted or you're going to decide that, hey, we just can't come to an agreement and we just got to move forward. All right. So, who do you negotiate with first? And it's like a trick question because it's on the screen. So, somebody just shout it out. Who do you negotiate with first?
Seller. No, buyer. Wait a minute.
The agent, the
Side.
agent.
What
Buyer's
side?
agent will do with the buyer first.
With our clients.
So it's kind of like a trick question, but you would negotiate with your client first and then with your agent, with the agent. So again, you're having that conversation with both of them. So if you are the buyer's agent, you're having a conversation with your buyer, and then you're having it with the seller's agent. If you're a seller agent, you're having that conversation, negotiation with your seller, then you're having it with the buyer's agent. Common points in negotiation. Price. Price is usually a primary factor in negotiations and is all about the cost of the property. Terms are either financial, time-based, or both. Examples can be closing costs, closing date, repairs, etc., etc. If you can think about it, what are some of the other terms you might negotiate during the transaction?
Closing cost.
Yep, closing costs.
Contingencies.
Yep, contingencies.
Inclusions, exclusions.
Yep,
The title policy, who's paying for that?
yep. Yeah, I'll get it. Yep. Here's some other examples. Could be lease back, appraisal, earnest money, option fee, furniture, household items. So things like that. So you all are pretty much on point and on track with it. So they say a way that you can question to determine what might be negotiated is to ask the other agent what is most important to your sellers besides price. Exactly what we talked about before, bringing it up again. What is most important to your seller besides price? So again, our two common points of negotiation is the price and terms. First one could be price, and then again, a lot of it could also just be the terms of the contract. All right. The 3 P's of negotiation. First, you learn what can be negotiated, terms and price and terms. Now you're going to learn a model that you can use as you walk through the negotiation. The model is called the 3 P's of negotiation: prepare, present, and position. So when we prepare, preparation is the key to building confidence, ensuring a smooth negotiation process. Present, move into the negotiation process by presenting the offer. Position, Move both parties closer until you have a full agreement. So throughout the next section, we're gonna go deep into each of the three pieces and spend some. We're not gonna really do that part. So I will say if there's some pieces that we're gonna go through right now that you feel you need to sharpen or add to your negotiation tactics, or if you don't have negotiation tactics yet, this can be the building point and the foundation for that. So first, prepare. Know your goals. Have a clear goal of reaching a win-win agreement in which both the buyer and seller are satisfied with the outcome of the negotiation. Remind your client of their motivation for moving or buying a house. And then when it comes to contract close, they'll be able to move on with their lives. That is key. Remembering and reminding your client of their motivation. That's one part. There's going to be some more things I'm going to highlight, but that is one of the main things that you want to highlight. There's going to be times where you're going to have to remind your client of their motivation of why they're buying or selling. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, you said you needed to buy this home because you need to be closer to your family, because your parents are getting a little bit older. You don't know how much time you have left with them, and you want to make sure you're there to spend that time with them. Like, you have to remind them of their motivation, because one thing we have to remember, we do this on a daily basis. So we kind of get, wrapped in where we do this so much. But this is one of the biggest purchases of people's lives. I always tell a joke, like, if a person can buy a $40 million yacht, 9 times out of 10, they're in a $300 million home. Their home will always be worth more than whatever else they purchase. So this is a big purchase. So we have to remind them of their motivation. 2, know your client. Make sure you fully understand your client's goals. Learn the areas in which they are willing to negotiate and where they will stand firm. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what is your absolute bottom line that you will not go under? Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what is your absolute top that you are willing to give a credit for, nothing more, nothing less? Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, what is the absolute bottom line price that you're willing to spend to purchase this home? So again, we want to make sure that we know their goal of where they're going to stand firm at, and then where there's some wiggle room. Think ahead. Anticipate what the other party intend to get out of the negotiation. Write down how you think they may counter the offer and how you plan to handle it. So, I'll be very honest with you. Us as agents, we know when we put the offer together and submit it after having a conversation with the listing agent, where we stand. So we should be pretty aware of, what their response may be. Set clear expectations. That's another thing. Highlight, circle, or, put it somewhere. Setting expectations. Prior to meeting with the other party, set clear and realistic expectations with your client. Then, promise or under promise and over deliver. Stress the importance of moving quickly to create a sense of urgency. Part of setting clear expectations with your client is being clear that win-lose agreements are likely to be rejected by the other side. To set yourself up for success, make it a win-win. We are setting that expectation with our clients. Hey, here's what to expect if we do A. Here's what to expect if we do B. Here's what to expect if we do C. Here's what's next. Here's the next step. We're always setting that expectation. We're always lining them up to know what that's going to look like and what that's going to be. Be informed. Before making an offer or counter offer, it's a good practice to speak with 2 other agents, ask open-ended questions, and use active listening to find out as much as you can about the other party and their agent. This helps you know with whom you are negotiating, on what points you will negotiate, and where you and your client have leverage. You've already done this. When you've reached out to ask what's most important to them, to their client, you already got informed on the information that you need. Obey the laws. Every state and locality have their own set of laws that regulate zoning, mortgage qualifications, and other real estate matters. Stay current on your local regulations and stay out of court. So again, we're obeying the laws. We're not saying or doing anything that can jeopardize our license or have us paying a big fine. And then 7, know the documents inside and out. Be familiar with your local board of realtors governing forms. Take the time needed to understand the templates and what belongs in each field. So what I will say to that part is, if you are newer to the business, I say once a week you should be filling out a purchase contract as practice to get familiar with it. I know after August 17th, a lot of places have updated their contracts anyway. I know we have totally different contracts now. I know a lot of other places that have totally different contracts. So getting familiar with the ins and outs of your contract, because every client is going to be different. Some client is going to ask you questions about this part, another client is going to ask you a question about that part. You just want to make sure you're well versed and educated. So no matter what question any client asks you about the contract or documents, you're able to be on top of it. Let me check the chat box real quick. Okay. All right. Ask purposeful questions. Understanding the right questions to ask is important to the negotiation process and to being able to prepare in the most comprehensive way. Asking questions allow you to establish and uncover the objectives and goals of your client and those on the other side of the transaction. By asking questions, you gain more information. As you gain information, you will strengthen your ability to negotiate and increase your chances of having a win-win negotiation. Here are the benefits for hold on, sorry, gotta let somebody in. Here's the benefits of asking questions. Provides you with the points you will negotiate on, provides insight on where you and your client will leverage, set clear expectations, allows you to get to know your client and their goals, helps you learn what will make it a win-win negotiation for both parties. I don't know if you all are catching the common theme, but we're always seeking more information. We're always seeking clarity around things. The person that asks the most questions controls the conversations. You're going to always get what you're looking for with the more questions you ask, and the more purposeful questions you ask, you really dive deeper into what that looks like. Open-ended questions versus closed-ended questions. So at the basic level, there are 2 types of questions: open-ended and closed-ended questions. Open-ended questions, there are questions that have unlimited response options. So here's some examples. What additional information should I know? What is important about closing in 30 days? How do you feel about that? Remember too, this is kind of off topic, but we always ask open-ended questions when we're lead generating and when we're trying to set appointments. So instead of asking somebody, hey, can I meet you? And they could just say yes or no, you can say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I have this time available or that time available. Which one works best for your schedule? They can't just say no, because it's like, what are you saying no to? They have to think and see which one works best for them. So we're always asking open-ended questions because we can get unlimited response options. Closed-ended questions, questions that expect a specific response, often yes, no, or one word. Do you have to sell your home by a specific date? Yes or no. Do you have any other offers? Yes or no. What is the bottom line price you would consider? So again, when we're thinking about other parts of the transaction or lead generating or following up with leads, we want to lean more towards open-ended questions because that keeps them away from saying no. Okay? What and why questions. So we're going to dig into some specific questions that can help you learn about your client's needs and create a focus for negotiation. Two options can be, what would happen if? Asking this question helps you anticipate the next steps in the negotiation. Why is that important to you? Asking this question helps you gain more information and insight into the previous question. All right. So again, what would happen if? Now you're getting, anticipation for the next part of the negotiation. Why is that important to you? Helps you gain more information and gain more insight. Again, we want to know below surface level. We need to get more questions, and we're diving deeper to get to a more better understanding. Okay, we don't have to worry about that. 2, present. Best practices when presenting. Call the other agent. We talked about that. Pay attention to nonverbal cues like pauses and voice qualities. So again, if you ask a question and they take a long pause, you hit some type of trigger or something where they're pausing in their action, and now they're having to think about what it is how they're going to respond and what's going on. Keep quiet once you present an offer. So once you present the offer, not going too much in depth of, hey, did your clients say anything? Hey, do you have an update? Like, you can give yourself a time frame of, hey, once we present the offer, then follow up for a response. Listen carefully to what is important to the other party. That's another key theme that's going to keep popping up. Stay calm and relaxed. So remember, we have to keep our emotions in check, and we can't get attached to the outcome. That helps keeps us calm and relaxed. Focus on the customer's need. Give your offer the best chance. So again, when we're talking about giving our offer the best chance, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, what is your top offer price that you're willing to offer? Okay, perfect. That is our best offer. That is our best chance. That's what we're going to roll with. Position. Acknowledge and confirm common ground. You are looking for places where the buyer and seller are in agreement. This also helps uncover the areas that can be adjusted versus the ones that are set in stone. Then you're going to use the what and how questions. These specific types of questions will help you better understand the priorities on the other side of the table. And then in your participation guide, it's going to give you some participants guide is going to give you some other examples of what and how questions. Understanding that in the process, sometimes you'll have to go back and forth multiple times to come to an agreement. And then also, we have to know when to walk away. If this negotiation isn't going, it's not looking like it's gonna, turn out the way we want it to turn out, then we have that conversation with our client that, hey, maybe it's best bet for us to walk away. Okay. Okay, any ahas or anything from that section or any questions that you all may have? I'll check the chat box too. Once you present an offer as a buyer, how long do you usually wait before you check in? So it depends on when we present the offer. If we present the offer like on a Monday or Tuesday, we're checking in like Thursday or Friday. The only time I'll wait a little bit long again is if it's after a certain time on Friday, on Saturday. Usually in the MLS, agents will put in their agent remarks. Any offers received after such and such time on Friday will be presented Monday at 9 a.m. So it's setting that expectation of, if you present an offer during the weekend, you're not going to hear anything until Monday. So now we can relay that to our clients so they're not on pins and needles trying to see, stressing about what's going on. When there are 7 other offers on the table, would you stay put and not asking for updates? If we are in a multiple offer situation, I will always ask the listing agent, when is your client looking to make a decision? If we're dealing with a multiple offer situation, when is your client looking to make a decision? I would definitely ask for an update with that, because a lot of times, especially if you're dealing with a buyer that their motivation is there, they want to purchase, they need to purchase, we can't just have them sitting around waiting to get bad news, and then now that motivation that they have is gone, and now they're like, hey, you know what? I probably want to take a little break from looking because I'm so disappointed about this one. So again, we want to make sure we're doing our job for our clients. Multiple offer situations. Hey, Mr. Listing Agent, when is the deadline for your multiple, all your highest and best? When are you submitting those to your client? I relay that message to my buyer. Hey, do you want to wait for that, or do you want to continue to do our thing so we can have stuff on standby if this doesn't go through? Okay. Any other questions around that? All right, perfect. So next we're going to talk about negotiation tips. So they tell us, now that you have the 3 P's approach and have a basic groundwork for how to negotiate, now we're going to uncover some tips and best practices to help negotiate. Be professional. Above all else, be professional. Again, yeah, we don't want to say anything that can get us in trouble. So we always make sure we be professional. 2, remember your goal, a signed contract. This is what you're driving toward, and it's what both agents and their clients have in mind. So we're keeping the goal in mind. What is the goal? What is the outcome we're looking from? That's what we're going to keep our eye on. Pay attention to your communication and tone with anyone involved in the transaction. Control what you say to anyone involved in the transaction. If you create anxiety in your client and other parties, you're reducing the leverage in negotiation. So, I don't know how many of you all play poker. We're keeping our poker face on. Some people are not good at having poker faces, so we got to have some cues or some things to remind us that, hey, our facial expressions, our tone of voice, how we communicate can come off a little aggressive or something of that nature. So we have to keep those things in mind as we're having our communications with people. Continually refer to your client's motivation when speaking with them. You're going to always have to remind your client of their why. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, remember you stated you need to do this by this date. Is that still important to you? Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you said you needed to do this by this date. Is that still important to you? We're constantly reminding them of their motivation, because it's going to be times where that's needed for them to move forward. Number 5, don't reveal too much. Listen more than talk. Keep your client's motivation close to your chest. Like I said earlier, as a buyer's agent, I want the listing agent to get diarrhea at the mouth. I want them to tell me everything that I need to know. As a buyer's agent, I am not saying too much about my client. Me as a listed agent, I am not giving out no details, because again, once you do that, you start losing the leverage you have in the negotiation process. Number 6, I keep saying this, don't be attached to the outcome. You can't get everything you and your client need all the time. Don't let it affect your mindset. If a deal doesn't go through or your client doesn't act on your recommendations, Find a different win for your client. We are not attached to the outcome. Okay. Our goal is to get them to their goal, yet we're not attached to that. We just want to make sure that the process is right and it is a win-win negotiate. It's a win-win situation for our clients. All right. I am going to stop sharing my screen to highlight that again. So we're going to keep it professional. And if you find yourself getting, you're going back and forth with another agent, give yourself 10 to 15 minutes to cool off. Because what end up happening is you start going in the text message or you go into the email and you start off with per my last email. Now the floodgates are opening and you're going to say something that you don't want to have in writing. So again, we take a step back. If you're on the phone with that agent, hey, you know what? Let me give you a call right back. Center yourself, relax, get back professional, and then call them back. But again, we want to make sure that we're staying professional. We want to make sure that we're staying on our P's and Q's. Because again, we want to make sure we're doing what's in the best interest for our client. Okay. Any ahas or anything from that section, anything that stuck out? Or some things that were left off of the list that you could think of that will possibly be added or should be added.
Question: how should I view my seller's motivation if I'm not giving away too much information about my seller so that they have like a somewhat of a upper hand, or when it's submitting an offer? However, I kind of go back and forth when I hear this about don't give too much information about your client. Every time I hear it in the office, I'm like, okay, well, when is what's right when, so.
So, one good way for that is to have that conversation with your seller. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if an agent calls me and wants to know information, what do you want me to disclose? What don't you want me to disclose? Again,
Got it.
you- you're leaving it to them because, again, trust me, from my 18 years, we are always going to be the ones at fault.
Yeah, that's why I ask.
Yeah, it's going to always be us. So, for us to avoid that, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I just want to set expectations with you and make sure we're on the same page so we can have a win-win situation. There are going to be some times where the buyer's agent is going to reach out to me and to try to get information to see what your motivation is, want to know why you want to sell. What are some of the information that you want me to give? What is some information you want me to keep to my chest? Oh, well, you could tell them that we're moving to here because we want to be close to the family. We're really motivated. Or, hey, we let them know that we need to move at such and such date. Like, okay, thank you. So if an agent does call me about that, these will be the things that I'll share with them. Everything else, I'll keep under wraps. Because again, do not want them to say, hey, I told you that. Why did you let them know that? Now that messes up our negotiation. So again, we let them share with us what they want us to disclose, and then and we won't disclose what they don't want us to.
So I have a question.
Yes.
Should that conversation be over an email or just verbally? Like the client stating what you want them to, what they want you to disclose or not? Should that be in written form?
Yeah. And they actually just said that, yes, I will send an email. I would do it in an email because again, you want to have proof to protect yourself, because they will say, well, I never told you that. I didn't say that. So I'll send an email or a text message. Hey, just to give you a heads up, buyer's agents may reach out, ask them what your motivation is, why you want to sell. What are some of the things you want me to disclose? What are things you don't want me to disclose? And then they'll send you an email about it.
Are you able to give us an example of how that information could be used to mess up negotiations?
Yeah. So is it April? I don't want to make sure I say it right.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So if I called you April and say, hey, so tell me about your seller. What's important to them? Well, Jesse, they gotta sell. They gotta be in Texas. Their grandmother is sick, and they really have to move, and they're willing to take this. Okay, well, my client was going to offer you more than that, but now since you told me that, we're going to offer you just that, and we're going to highlight, hey, we want to have a closing date by this, so you can make sure you get down to where you need to get to.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's pretty much using that to help your client. Again, if you tell me that they really need to move for a specific reason, or you even get agents that would say, hey, look, my client is willing to take under list price. Like, you agents will say stuff. You will be shocked as you're on the phone, like, are you really telling me this? Oh, okay, perfect. And then I'm calling my buyer and say, hey, I know we were going to offer 600,000, but the information I just got from the listing agent, we can offer 560.
Mm.
So that's why, again, we kind of want to watch what we share, because it can affect that.
Okay, thank you.
The seller, we are under contract. We are obligated to the seller. The seller can tell us what they want to disclose. We can give our opinion and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, in my professional opinion, I don't think we should disclose this information. At the end of the day, I hate to say it like this, but we have to do what they advise us to do. So it is their information, and they can tell us, what they want us to disclose and what they don't want us to disclose. We can only just give our professional opinion and say, hey, I understand that, but it is my fiduciary responsibility to just give you a little more clarifying information about why I don't think we should do that, and you tell them why. If they did still say, no, it's okay, you can tell them that, then we do that. Any more questions about that? Or anything you would like to add?
Hey, Jesse, I got a
Hey.
question.
Yeah.
This is Brenda. So has anybody used, I think it's called 360 Home Connect recently? And if you are using it, do you know how to have other people contact them?
I haven't used that, so I'm not
Sure
sure.
of it? Okay. So I don't know if it's up there in Chicagoland, but over here in like Peoria, we can provide this service, and they help clients switch over their utilities
Hmm.
so that, like, especially if they're out of state or something and don't know, you know, what utilities the company used to use or anything like that, then they kind of bridge the gap for us. So
You
I didn't know if anybody was familiar with it.
you said it's called what again? Let me write that down.
360 Home Connect.
360.
I believe is what it's called. Yeah.
Okay.
360 Home Connect Utilities. They, from what I've heard from the clients, they do a pretty good job, and they'll copy you in on their emails as an agent so that you can like kind of monitor the communication. And so it's been helpful.
I am gonna definitely check into that.
I don't know where they're all at though, but you might have different programs, something different too, similar to it in other states.
Yeah, I'll check and see. Thanks for that.
Sure.
All right. Anything else? Anybody else got anything? All right. So what we'll do is a quick recap, and you all will actually probably get, yeah, about extra 10 minutes of your evening back. I know. See, I'm for the people. Listen, I am for the people. You know, I am the beat the GPS person. If the GPS say I'm gonna get there about 1, I am gonna get there about 12:30 or 12:45. So I am for the people. All right. So again, we're remember when it comes to negotiation, the very first thing we're doing is staying professional and keep it. We have to stay non-emotional. One thing is our clients will feed off of our emotions quick. So, for my people that speak with their face and not their words, we got to watch our facial expressions. I am one of those people. My facial expression says a full conversation without me saying anything. So, we have to make sure, we keep it together. Somebody told me yesterday. Somebody said the faces you make makes me scared about the things you would say if you said them. So, with us knowing that, and I know I'm not the only one, we have to make sure we're aware of that when we're having our conversation, especially with our clients. They're fragile. They're already nervous. They have other people that's not even in the transaction. Hey, what's going on with the deal? I heard you buying the house, and now they're freaking out. I am a high D, high I. So, again, we want to make sure we stay professional. We keep our emotions in check. We don't have any ego. We're not attached to the outcome, and we are creating a win-win situation for our clients. Okay. So if there's any more ahas or anything from you all, yes, I'll drop my number in the chat. You can shoot me a text and I can help you find that. Let me drop my number in the chat box. And then also my email. All right. Anything else you all have? And then I have one more favor from you all. Okay. Yeah, definitely reach out to me. Yep, the recording will be sent for you all so you could review it and go over it again. All right, so my last favor I need from you all, I need you all to give me a review for this part of the session. Session 18. So I will put that slide up for you all. And right there. So again, it'll be your region, virtual Jesse Coleman, and this session is Ignite 18, negotiate offers. And then again, quickest form to get me is text message. Because that way if I'm teaching or I'm coaching, I'm able to shoot a quick text back as opposed to, a call. Mhm. And look at that. I get y'all out. I get y'all out. 10 minutes to spare. Yeah, definitely be safe down there in Florida. Oh yeah, I'll do a quick explanation of the disc. I'm glad you asked that. I always keep something on hand for that. Here we go. So, hold on, let me find it. So the disc is the personality types, and it is very helpful to know your client's personality types, not only to know theirs, but know yours, so you can know how to communicate with them and how you want to be communicated with. So hold on one second. Let me pull up my thing. If you have to jump off, that's cool. I'll just do this real quick.
Is this what your office does, like can do a testing on you for? Is that what this thingy is?
So the disc is to know the different personality types. So here you go.
Okay, I know it's something your office could do. I thought maybe that was it. Okay.
Yeah. So a D, which a high D or D is dominance, results oriented, driver, competitive, makes decisions quickly. I am a high D. I'm just gonna go. I'm not gonna wait. I is an influencer. They're persuasive, inspiring, enthusiastic. They influence people. A C is cautious, analytical, detail oriented, and systematic. So if you're dealing with a client who is a C, analytical, that's where you're putting out those graphics. They love graphics, they love colors, they love pie charts. That you're using those things with those clients. A high D, you're pulling out a one pager, getting right to the point. And then a S is somebody that's more stable, where they're democratic, patient. They're not whimsical. They're a little bit more on the quiet side because they're doing a lot more observing. So again, knowing different personality types of yourself, and of your client helps you. Here's the beautiful thing about us being entrepreneurs and business owners: we are chameleons. We can adapt to any situation that we need to adapt to, but we need to know how we need to adapt to those situations. Okay. Oh, yep. I'll put it up. Here you go, right here. Yep. She just dropped the link. Thank you so much, Kate, for that. All right, everybody. We are done. Thank you all for spending your evening with me. I love pouring into others and teaching and sharing. That's what fills my cup and keeps me going. So I put my number in there. I put my email in there. Shoot me a text, and yeah, looking forward to seeing you all in the future. Bye.